Marcus Hayes, Fight Hub TV, here with a special treat brought to you by Stagefront VIP. Marcus Hayes, Blair the Flair Cobb. Blair, it's been a little while, man, but here we are once again. We've got a lot of things going on in boxing. Blair, what you think? How's it been?
It's been great. It's been a wonderful experience. We had some ups and downs, and then in this the last year, and I look forward to a very big, spectacular year this coming up, 2023.
And Ruiz coming down the pipe sometime, maybe next, maybe this year, not next year because it's 23. What do you think if they were to get together, Wilder and Andy Ruiz?
Um, I love Andy Ruiz. Big respect for being like the first Mexican world champion. Um, Knockout, it's just that simple. You know what I mean? Just a knockout from Wilder. It's hard to not think that. I mean, like if once he lands a punch, and it's not like Andy is an impossible person. He's not, ec- extraordinary like tall like Tyson Fury or just ridiculously big. He's big, but he's not Tyson Fury big. He's gonna get hit, and like he has to get into the range of Wilder's range. It's not like he has a longer range than Wilder. It just has all the makings of another spectacular knockout. Honestly, like and I feel like that's like almost a no brainer. But it's going to be a great fight, and I look forward to see what happens.
Looks like a matchup that would be one filled with spectacular action for as long as it would last if it
Yeah,
uh wouldn't go to the decision. I mean, you've got Andy Ruiz, combination puncher, brave guy in his own right, stands up
yeah.
under basically any sort of fire that's thrown at him. And then you got Wilder, needless to say, the right hand bandit. And it will be a battle of how would Andy get inside of the Wilder reach and the ladder of how would Wilder maybe keep him off, man. So yeah, that good matchup. Hopefully we get to
I
see it.
think
We don't
so.
really know what's going on with those two. No official announcement, though the WBC did make it an eliminator. To the rest of the heavyweight division, Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk. There was a restriction that had been thrown on Usyk for him to fight another fighter. They've since removed that, and now it looks like they paved the way, or at least cleared the runway for the undisputed matchup between Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk. What do you think if those two were to get together?
Man, that's really interesting. That's a really interesting match. I don't really know what's gonna happen. And that's really what you want out of boxing. You want these fights to be made to a point where as though like you're at the edge of your seat and you don't know what's gonna happen. I would love to see these fights that are made that are so unpredictable and have a whole lot of drama and action. You have a Usyk, right? He's a much smaller fighter, you know what I mean, as far as like weight and even like the way he carry himself. But when you have those dramatic extremes, sometimes it makes for a very interesting setup. Because Tyson Fury isn't faster than Usyk. Not in his feet, not in his hands, not in his head movement. So then now you have somebody that can rival his speed, his reflexes. He's going to have to be very, very creative to get off and pull off big shots against somebody like Usyk that will be twisting and turning him around and catching him. And not to mention Usyk has a little bit of power as well. And it's going to be very interesting how Tyson can like make an adjustment, because if he doesn't make an adjustment to that smaller, faster fighter that has a little bit of pop, it's going to be a long night for Tyson Fury, I think.
So you go on the opposite of the old adage that says a good big man beats a good small man. What about the power of Fury? Fury hasn't been known as a devastating puncher in his career, but as of late, he has been shown to be able to put, especially those two, that one and that two together, and he's yielded some marvelous results in his own right.
Yeah, I just even with that being said, like for instance, I fought a lot of big fighters, and I sparred a lot of big fighters. And the thing is, the because of the weight difference and just the size difference, they were always 1, 2, 3 beats behind. So while I'm over there taking my money, I'm closing up shop, they're still like trying to figure it out. They still trying to sell. And it's just not going to work against like somebody like Usyk. I think will be that guy that's so fast, and then he's just coming in, coming out, coming in, coming out, catching him with a couple good shots, and then round over. Okay, next round, coming in, coming out, pop, boom, 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 turn him, and Tyson Fury has to throw something out there just to try to keep up with him, but like it can make for a very interesting fight because like even when I'm fighting smaller guys, that like have that much more speed and reflexes, now I have to trick his eyes. I have to trick him as a person. Okay, he thinks I'm backing up. Bang! Caught him with a trap shot. Chasing him, step back counter. Boom. You know what I mean? Or I might like try to like overwhelm him with punches that really don't mean nothing until like he starts to commit and throw something. Boom, and then I catch him with a big shot. And then like, you know what I mean? And I have to keep playing that game and win each round until he actually gets hurt.
Setting up the work.
Yeah, it's in like that's a lot of work that you have to do mentally. So like one, you can't fall mentally fatigued, you know what I mean? And then two, like, hopefully the damage doesn't pile up because those faster fighters, if they have like a lot of power, they can like that. Like while you're starting to figure him out and try to set up traps and try to set up counters and trying to figure out his timing and everything, there's damage being piled up on you. So like if there's too much damage, by the time he figures them out, that could be a problem too. And now we're like, okay, so what's he going to do with this cut? And things like that. So like it's a lot that's involved in that fight. I think that fight is going to be very, very interesting, and I feel like people don't give it enough credit. Like shout out to these guys for making those fights possible. Shout out to Deontay Wilder for making these fights possible. Because honestly, without Wilder giving Tyson Fury a shot, without Wilder seeking out for bigger and better competition out there, we would never even seen that fight. We all know that Anthony Joshua is a coward. When it came to like making these big fights happen with Deontay Wilder, he chose not to. You know what I mean? And then eventually still get caught, still get beat by like the first Mexican world champion, like and then somebody else, and then Usyk. You know what I
mean? Now Blair, you had me when you were giving the adulation to Deontay Wilder, and then you just flashed in the Blair Cobb way, and you just bumped in and called Anthony Joshua a coward. What's up with that? What is it? And I guess you were getting into it. What is it about him that has made you call his character into question time and again the way that you have?
I take nothing away from him. He's a great fighter, and great in his own retrospect. And like he done a lot of amazing things in boxing before all of that. But when the time came, and there's another great champion out there, you know what I mean? And there was all the recipes for a very spectacular fight for him to rise to the occasion. Because Wilder could knock your damn block off. So then it's like, okay, regardless, you're going to get hit. He's going to knock your fucking block off. So what are you going to do after? Are you going to get up? Are you going to be a coward? Are you going to run? We want to know what's going to happen. And stealing the opportunity to see a great fight is like really, really bad for the sport. And that's what's constantly happening nowadays. We have the Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford fight that's just not happening. And that's stealing that opportunity is bad for boxing. You know what I mean? And so when I call him a coward, I call him a coward because like there was nothing stopping that fight besides him. You know what I mean? And it's like, yo, I get it. You got a lot of fans and all that stuff, but like when the spit hits the fan, we need to see what happens when you're actually tested, because then you beat an old fighter that, like, that was reigning for a long time. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, now it's time for you to fight someone that's your equal, that's risen from the swamps of America. Let's see what happens. And like, we didn't get to see that. We still not seeing that yet. And I would love to see it.